Nigeria is in the grip of a renewed onslaught of insecurity in several parts of her territory, which has led to further loss of lives of her servicemen and abduction of innocent school children. This week's capture and killing by Islamic State West Africa province of a Nigerian one-star general encapsulates what many have described as one of the gloomiest periods in the nation's decade and half-life and death struggle among non-state actors. For what must be done to enhance the operational efficiency of Nigeria's military in the war against insecurity, and to what extent recruiting of more soldiers can change the tide in Nigerian troops' favor, we're now being joined by Group Captain Sadeeq Shehu, retired, a former spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Now, first of all, let's start, with our manpower. How large is the current manpower deficit in the Nigerian Armed Forces relative to the scale of threats across multiple fronts in the country?
Okay, thank you very much. First, let me start by saying Nigeria today, probably more than ever before, faces one of the widest security front lines in the world. From Boko Haram and ISWAP in the northeast, to banditry in the northwest, violent criminality in the Middle Belt, and piracy in the Gulf of Guinea. Yet, for a country of about 237 million people, we have barely one soldier for every 1,000 citizens. Currently, you can estimate the Nigerian military strength at about 230, I'd say 240. Certainly, we're not up to 300,000. This is far below what countries with fewer security challenges maintain. So the debate actually is not whether Nigeria needs more troops. For a long time, this has been known that Nigeria needs more troops. We clearly do. The real issue is how we grow through strategic planning, proper training capacity, and a force structure review. Not the arbitrary number like I hear the Senate saying add 100,000. I heard the Chief of Army Staff saying they'll go to 4,000. It is something that has to be worked out looking at various items before you agree on what should be the ideal number of troops for a country of Nigeria's size. If you look at countries that you can compare with Nigeria, that whether you talk of population or security challenges or size of their territory, you can say countries like Egypt, countries like Brazil, countries like Indonesia, you'll find that their per capita for number of soldiers is far, far higher than that of Nigeria.
But even with more soldiers, can we talk about technology and the money that's being put into the investment of this equipment in an age of AI and modern combat? How adequately are the military implementing the use of modern technology, and I'm talking about surveillance drones, cyber warfare, AI, etc., to gain some kind of edge? What could be the obstacles that the military has with modernization, and how can that be reformed?
Now, when we talk about the thing that the Nigerian military needs, we started with numbers. Apart from numbers, certainly you need equipment. Because when we talk on numbers, we're assuming a well-equipped soldier in the field. And some people bring about the issue of intelligence. Yes, intelligence, intelligence or what do you call it, technology. Yes, technology has its place. For example, technology can predict for you. It can find where the enemy is. It can give you some advance warning. But for the kind of warfare we are fighting, to protect a country of 930 square kilometers, to protect people that are over 200 million, you need not only technology. Technology can give you advanced warning, but technology cannot hold ground for you. And that's where the problem is. Each one, where you need men is different, where you need technology is different, where you need equipment is different. You understand? So no matter how you do, in the kind of conflict we are fighting, which is called asymmetric warfare or conventional warfare, actually is manpower specific. It needs manpower. Experts, for example, when you are fighting the kind of insurgency we are fighting in Nigeria, they presume for an armed force not to struggle, for it to finish the war in a certain time, you need to have between 20 to 25 personnel per 1,000 number of population that you are protecting. For example, if you take the northeast where we're fighting the insurgency, that is Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe, I can put, averagely their population to be about 26 million. When you look at that, to follow that formula, which has been tested and tried over many insurgencies in the world, you need about 520,000 troops. And now when I mean troops, you can combine army, civil defense, police. So all we're having now is a total strength of 230 or 270. So you can see the number that that we lack. So even if you have technology, there are things that technology cannot do for you. It's only boots on the ground that can do that for you. What is happening? If you take any environment in the northeast, for example, call Monguno. Let's say for Monguno. How many times have you heard that our forces are fighting over Monguno? Why is it so? You will capture Monguno today, you don't hold it, you leave it, and then the insurgents will take it back again. Then tomorrow you have to fight it. Why is it so? Because you are taking the same troops that you have placed in Monguno, take them to another place where they are fighting. So unless you have enough numbers on the ground, there's really no way that technology can solve the problem for you. And another issue I want people to understand is that for a modern military, there's even the ratio of that will give you an idea of the force that you need. If you need a brigade, if you want to deploy a brigade, you need to have about 4 times that strength. Because it's not only the deployment. As you are deploying one brigade, you need one other brigade that is in training. You need another brigade that has been rotated, that has left the fighting area and it is resting. You also need another brigade that is a reserve. So you see, for any number of soldier, let me break it down. For any number of soldier, one that you need in the front, he needs to have 3 other soldiers behind him. That is how professional militaries go. And because we don't have these numbers, that is why, in my own experience, I have met soldiers that have stayed in the front line for 4 years without leave. Nobody does that. The soldier, even though we say the soldier is a human being. And you can only that where you have numbers. And to be honest, like I said, if you look at all comparator countries, whether you say Egypt, you find that based on their population, based on their size, the number of troops they have is far higher than what Nigeria has. So no matter whether we have equipment, whether we have technology, this issue of numbers has been a recurrent problem and it has been known. It is something that has been, studies have been carried out upon. There's a minimum number which if you don't have, it will be a ding-dong affair. Today we beat Boko Haram, tomorrow Boko Haram beats us. Today we capture a place, tomorrow they capture it back.
Now, but Group Captain, I'm wondering, what timelines are realistic for newly recruited soldiers to become fully combat ready?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. I was asking, that what timelines are realistic for newly recruited soldiers to become fully combat ready and effective on the field?
Sorry, please, I didn't get your question.
Okay, I said what timelines, the realistic timelines. What are the realistic timelines for newly recruited soldiers to become fully combat ready and effective on the field?
Normally, the training we do in Nigeria for newly recruits is about 6 months. To get to the basics of war, that will take experience in the field. However, your point is very valid in that even as we are talking of increasing the forces, I think what the government needs to do, because I hear the Senate saying add 100,000. I hear the Chief of Army Staff saying add 240,000. Now, I think it is premature without a proper analysis to even know what are the forces that we need. When you want to shape a force for a country, there are certain factors that you look at. First, you look at the threat and mission. Do we have internal threats? Do you have external threat? That will decide the size of armed forces that you want. You also look at your geography and population. We are talking of a country that is 920 square kilometers. We are talking of a country that is having over 200 million of population. That should be a factor. You are also looking at the doctrine whether are you going to be fighting conventional warfare or non-conventional warfare. In conventional warfare, we say when you are attacking, the attacker should come with 3 times the number of the defender. But I told you this manpower requirement is even higher in a counter-insurgency operation because you are protecting a population. You are protecting a very high area. So definitely that's one issue you have to look at. You also have to look at your force structure. That is, what are going to be the support elements? What are going to be the combat arms? That should be another thing. Finally, finance. Everything has to do with money. There is this debate about guns versus butter. That is, the government has to balance what can it afford. You have to, put a limit to what you can spend on security before you don't have money to spend on health, you don't have money to spend on education. And finally, regional and international, plans that we have for our regional and international. For example, we know Nigeria in West Africa is a regional power. In West Africa, it's a regional power, and it is also a contributor of United Nations peacekeeping. So all these factors have to go. It is only when you look at these factors, then you will decide what is the number. And as per the number that you said also, it cannot happen in one day. What I expect the Senate to do as they are having this and arriving at these numbers, they look at what is the short-term target you are going to get. What is the medium-term target you are going to get? What is the final long-term target that you are going to get? But taking all these things together, to be honest, I don't think any troop numbers between 700 and 1 million is too big for Nigeria's aspirations, either internally or externally. So when you have this, now that we have a problem, you have to do rushed recruitment. 6 months, and then you have to turn them out. What happens is in the military, you are not going to take those raw soldiers into the front. You are going to mix them with hardened sergeants, corporal, staff sergeants who are well versed in the art of warfare, and they will take them and mentor them until they become used to the fighting battles. That is how it is normally done. But certainly, it is no question of whether we need more forces. We really need them if possible, since yesterday.
Well, Group Captain Sadeeq Shehu, who retired, thank you so much for your submissions and joining us here on Newsday.